Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, your sponsor, Lui Nishmas. I'm Yechezkel. We are holding in Masechet Shavuos. We're in Daf Lamed Vov. We stopped yesterday in the two dots in the bottom of the Lamed base. Towards the bottom. It's about probably 10 lines from the bottom, give or take. Yeah, 9 lines. The Gemara brings the Mishnah that says we call kinuyim aril chayovim. The discussion if you have to have Shem Hashem when you say the Shvuah, or you have to have a kinui, or kinui is enough. Ask the Gemara, meaning yiter Hashem oisoch le'olo u'leshvuah. It says by a soito that the Kohen tells her you'll be on olo and a shvuah. Mata b'leima. Now olo means a curse. Shvuah means a shvuah. So right now we'll see. Already said Shavuos. It says by Shavuos Edus. They heard a kololo. It says Allah by Edus. It says Allah by Soito. Malol and Shavuos. Avkan Shavuos. Same by Soito. It says Shavuos over there. So here means Shavuos. To tell you that we talk about the Shavuos. Malol and B'Shem. Now also by Soita it says that Yiter Hashem Oisoch. You use the name of Hashem. I've got Mishem. So here you have to use the Shem Hashem. So you see you have to use Shem Hashem and not Kinuim. That's the Mimam Shem Hashem. Omabai Lekash. Hav Chanir Ba'idi Arabon. It's not like this. Time Chanir Ba'idi Oimer Real Ve'omro Toiro Yeshova Ve'al Tishova. Kalel Ve'al Tekalel. Right? Meaning, you have a din to do a shvuah. Sometimes you have to do a shvuah. Shvuah is Hashem Tiyah Ben Shteim. When there's a good transaction, you do a shvuah to solidify it. And then there's an ata shvuah when you do something which is wrong. There's a din of klolos. Sometimes you have klolos. By a soy to Rashi says, and then you have a din not to mikalo, it's kal cheresh. So Rashi learns that limud is kal cheresh. So you have shvuah and olah. My shova b'shem, shova b'shem. When you do a shvuah, it says b'shem. Shvuah is Hashem tiyeh ben shem. The legitimate shvuah is done with Shem Hashem. So also the illegitimate shvuah is done with Shem Hashem. Makilu b'shem, avloisekal b'shem. The same way by soito. You use Shem Hashem when it's legitimate. So when it says don't curse somebody, loisekal cheresh, it's a legitimate one. So that's how you know it has to be Shem Hashem. So you give me exil shava, and you buy Shem Yuchod, you give me exil shava, all the shvoim in Alu. Rabbanon that say you can use a kinui, how do you know that? If they do exil shava the same way, so they should require Shem Hashem. If not, how do you even know that we're talking about the same thing? So the Gemara, nafkalu netanyo, olo ein olo elo lo shvu. Olo means shvu. Chenu aimer, yishbiya kohen seishe b'shvu asol. So, Allah means shvuah. How do you know that? Not because it's shava. Just we found another place that says Allah and there means shvuah. So here means shvuah. So 1 second. There Allah doesn't mean shvuah. How so shvuah so Allah looks it says, it doesn't say Allah. It says shvuah so Allah. Masha Allah itself is not a shvuah. Hach gomar. Allah ain't el b'shvuah v'chen nohem yishbiya kreis eisha b'shvuah so Allah. Not that Allah means translate the word to shvuah. But when it says Allah, it refers to Shvuah. The other time that we find the Torah Allah, there's a Shvuah over there. So the Allah over here is also Shvuah. Not because the word Allah means Shvuah. Right? So that's how you learn. That's how you learn it. So you know that we talk about a Shvuah. Right? Now I'm learning Zeh Shava. Now I'm learning Zeh Shava, then say Shem Hashem, so I say Kinu. Says the one we're going to use the way the question is, do you have the parentheses or not? But let's do without the parentheses. How do you know that Shvuah can have a claw and not have a claw? Look what's from Rashi. Rashi says, the first Rashi in the Amud. So shvuah with an Allah means there's a shvuah, there is a klal. The partial word of the word Allah is klal. So he means I'm giving you a shvuah, the Kohen tells the Isha, getting a shvuah, and if not, you'll be cursed. So how do you know you can have a shvuah with Allah and also can be without Allah? Both by Soito and by Edus. Talmud Loimar, that's only from Edus. The Shama call Allah. So you darshan v'shama Allah, v'shama koil. Either way, you can have an Allah, which is a klala. It can be a koil without a klala. Klala is not necessary. We're referring you to shvuah, not to a curse. So according to Rabbanon, it's a limud of binyanav. You learn the concept from there, and then merely you can learn also kinui. It says in the pasuk says that by Yechezkel, it says by Nebuchadnezzar, I think it's Nebuchadnezzar, that he did a treaty with Tzidkiyahu. So it says in the pasuk in Yechezkel, "Vayaveh Yisoi be'Olo." It says Allah. That's what it says. And then there's a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim that says over there, Nebuchadnezzar and Yechezkel says he did all. In Divrei Hayamim it says he did a shvuah. 1 second. Is it a contradiction? You see here, the Allah is a shvuah. Okay, that's the limit. Sigmatano, Arur, when it says the word Arur, boy nidui, boy klal, boy shvuah. Arur can mean a nidui, can mean a klal, can mean a shvuah. Rashi says, if a chacham says, there's a community, that when a chacham tells us on a Talmud, nidui, he's menude for 30 days, automatically. So if he said Lashon Arur could be a nidui. Arur could be a klala, a curse, it could be a shvuah. Boy nidu dichtiv, Oiru, Morois, Omar, Malach Hashem, Oiru, Yeshua. So there was a klala that says on Maris, which if you believe is a location, because they didn't come to help. They didn't come to fight with against Israel. So it says on Maris. With 400 shayfers, shamtits of nidui, borek lemoris. So you see there it says Arur refers to nidui. Boy klala, dichtiv ve'eli yamdu ala klala. It says by agrees in my evil. It says klala. Dichtiv orei shashiyase pesach. So it says klala and it says Arur. So you see Arur could be a klala. Boy shvuah dichtiv ve'shava shvuah Yeshua be'isei lemor. Yeshua said a shvuah. Orei shvnei Hashem. The guy being somebody, I believe, Neilo. Sorry, the guy Yerichli. So he said he did a shvuah. It says Arur. So you see the Arur could be a shvuah. So who said? Maybe all is not a shvuah. Yeshua did a shvuah and did all both. Then when they were going to war, so Yishol HaMelech warned the nation that nobody should eat while they're fighting. It says Yeshua did, he said Arur. And it says later the Yonis said, didn't hear the shvuah. It says Arur. He said Arur is a shvuah. Maybe he did both. So the Gemara Latino, he did a shvuah and a klala. Michtiv ve'Arur. It says Arur. That was the only thing that was there. So that's the right. So what means the right? The word Arur could be a shvuah as well. So that's regarding Arur. The word Arur can mean nidui, can mean a shvuah, and can mean a klal. When you say omin, boy shvuah, you accept a shvuah. You're saying a shvuah through that. Boy kabbalah is dvarim, boy ha'amon is dvarim. So Rashi says that so he says you have a tanai, Rashi says, that you have to do something. So he's giving a condition. In other words, I'm giving you this if you do this and this. Right? I'm giving you as a tanai. So he has to, Rashi says, if he says Omin, he has to keep the tanai. So Kivei, your ass will be, or he has to keep the tanai. Omin is accepting the tanai that he will. The only if he fulfills the tanai, he gets the agreement. Doesn't have to do it tonight. Why does Rashi says the chai of the kain to know? Question of Kivei Rashi. So Rashash over here, Besed. Also, Harmona's Dvarim, we're talking about saying Amin means Harmona, which refers to Rashi says, next Rashi, the Roy Lanus Omel Dvar Tfilo Vitrino. Person has a davening, you say Amin. You're saying yes, emes, it should be this way. How do we say it? We see by us, by Soito, she says Amin on the Shvuah. She's accepting the Shvuah. It says or and they say Amin. So you say the Amin means I'm accepting what you just said. Hamon is dvarim dichtiv ayermin yumi anavi Amin ken yaseh Hashem yaker masher dvarecha. In other words, I accept what you said. You wrote, so that's what's going to be. So that's what Amin means as well. Omar Blazer, lav shvuah and ein shvuah. Dealing with different lashonos. A lav and a hen is also shvuah. Visual lav shvuah dichtiv v'lo yeh oidamayim lemabul. It says that Kishbuch said there will be no mabul. Loy, be no mabul. V'chtiv ki meinu echzoris le'ashem nishbati. It says Kishbuch did a shvuah, there will be no mabul. Where did he say that? He just said loy. See, loy is a shvuah. Hein shvuah minola. Where do you see that hein is a shvuah? So more svarim. Makes sense? Mit the lav shvuah, hein nami shvuah. Hein is the opposite of lav. If lav is a shvuah, hein is a shvuah as well. Omar Rav Vud Omar Lav Lav Trezimni Vud Omar Hein Hein Trezimni. He has to repeat it. If you say only once, it's not. It has to be Lav Lav Hein Hein. Tichtiv V'lo Yikares Kol Bosar Oid Mimei Mabul V'lo Yod Amayim LaMabul. It says Loy twice. When we do Lav Trezimni Hein Nami Trezimni, so we learn Lav from Hein. It has to be double in order for it to be a loshon of a shvuah. Says Muhammad Kalil B'Kulom Chayo Divrei Ameir V'Choy Poetry, person who uses the kinuyim for klolo. So he's chayav according to Amechom, say no, it has to be Shem Hashem. Torah bani shish ki kala loy kavnos achetoi mato, but loy mavelik for nema v'noikiv Shem Hashem yumus. Or yumus. It already says someone does a noikiv Shem Hashem. That's a klol. I have to say again ish ki kala. Cholu yichayev el Hashem amiyuchad bilvat. Could be his chayav only when he says yukiv ofki. Minay le'arvis hakinuyim, also the kinuyim. Tomud loy ma shish ki kala loy kav mikol makov divrei amir. The extra ki kala loy kav is any klolo, even not kinu, even not Shem Hashem. I agree with you that it says refers to other names, but it's not Misa. It's only Azar. It's only Allah. Someone occurs his parents. So the Mishnah says would shame they're using again using Shem Hashem Kinui. It says that in the pasuk, when we talk about the person who's doing klol to Kodesh Baruch Hu, it says ishki kala loiko v'nosu chetoy, and then it says b'noik Hashem Hashem mois yumas, b'noik v'shem yumas. It says in the same pasuk, nokri, b'noik Hashem Hashem yumas, b'noik v'shem yumas. You have to tell me again. You just said noik Hashem Hashem. Says the Gemara, limud al kal ovi mosheinu chayvit sheikalim Hashem. That's the tell you you're not chayav until you do a klala. What the extra, but not for Shem, refers to the father and mother. So the Mishnah also said someone who's cursing himself and is chaveir with akinui is oiver beloy sase. Says the Gemara, it's everybody agrees with that. Even though before we brought a machlekes, this kinuyim work klape Kodesh Baruch Hu, klape father and mother, but Legabi himself, everybody agrees. It says you have to be very careful. So it says that a shomer is a loisase, and the pasuk says, right? Because it says, right, the shomer, I think, because it says shomer legabe the isur of klala as well. I'm trying to figure out why. Where did it say over here the lashon of klala? Very simple. Because it says shmor nafshecha milit. That's what I refer to. Shmor nafshecha, guard your nefesh, yourself. What does it mean? Be careful not to curse yourself. That's right. So that's the Isser, and that's a lois haset. That's what Rashi brought before. Not to curse a cherish means someone who's either deaf or is someone who doesn't hear. In other words, you're causing someone to get hurt through your klal. Says the Gemara, the pasuk says, the Gemara Mishnah says, Yakecho Hashem Elokim v'ken Yakecho Elokim Zo Yolak Suvatayvo. So the Gemara Yosef Kan Kamid Avidu Yosef Koma Hamastisin Kedetnan. He said it. He used the words of the Mishnah. Yakecho Hashem, Yakecho, Yakechem, according to one of the Gersars. So he was saying, he was giving a shear. Hashem will hurt you, Hashem will damage you in plural. Says the Gemara, Omerlei, so Rav Yehuda says, Kani. Don't say it directly. Don't say Loshen, which sounds like you're talking to the person in front of you. Say it on a third party. Right? Yakeim. Don't say as if you're talking to the guy in front of you. Yosef Rabban Kabir Avkan of Yosef Koma Gam El Yitzachol Netzach Yachtecho V'Yischacho Meoyel V'Shershecho Meretz Chaim Sel. So it says over here a lashonis of the pasuk is all curses. He's going to come. He's going to cut you off. He's going to remove you. He's going to uproot you from life forever. Amalei Kana. It says don't say loshen. You're talking to the guy in front of you. He's going to curse you. So the Gemara Tartilam. I need two stories. How do you think in the Mishnah you change the lashon, but by a pasuk maybe not. So Chiddush is by a pasuk you also change it, and there's an interesting discussion. Obviously, that we don't pass it this way. That we know that when you say the klolos in the Torah, you have to be very careful. We don't want to bring out aliyah to the person because maybe he's referring to this person. Can you change the lashon of the pasuk instead of saying? Ya'ale Hashem Aleh Kol Ekser, Ya'ale Allah. Obviously not. But according to what he says now, you can change the pasuk. So why can't you change it over there? Says the Gemara, so there it says, if you do the right thing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you mercy, give you everything for you. And so the Gemara says that's what the Gemara brings over here. So the Chiddush is that even though, so what do you see over here? It's a lashon of Miklal Lav to Shemayin. You from the no, you hear the yes. Probably the Zoom will go off in a second, so I'm going to put them on the phone. So, here, let's put it over here. So it says over here, I mean, he's saying, if you do the right thing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and give you the unbelievable thing. What is it going to give you? It's going to give you it will be all good for you. Mashma, from here, if you don't do it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to punish you. Right? So you have it, you learn from yes to no. Right? That's the shayla. Shayla is, does that work or not? So the Gemara, Rameir says yes, that's good enough. And Rabban would say no. Says the Gemara, so Rameir disagrees that you learn from no yes, right? No, sorry. Rameir says because you learn from no yes. Usually we know Rameir holds you don't know from no yes. How do we know that? Rashi brings from Tanai Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven. Tanai Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven he says you have to say double hein v'lav because you don't learn from no yes. So the chur over here should be the same. So how can you learn from no yes? He brought our Mishnah. So he also said the same notion. So it is true. Our guess is correct. So we have a question. What's the question? So, but Rameir holds you don't learn Michlal Tashemain. So what? Only in Mominus, like we have with Nai Beged Reuven, they conquer the land and that. Then you say you don't hear from no yes. Or a person wants to get somebody else, says no, then you don't learn yes. But by Yisur you do. Says the Gemara, Resaito di Suro. It says over there, Ve'at kisosis, kiloi sosis, hinoki. So what does it mean hinoki? If you did the right thing, you will be cleaned up. Says the Gemara, says hinoki ksiv, and Yudashi Chanki. Chanki means you'll be choked. So it says yes or no. If you'll be good, you'll be clean. And now you'll be choked. Let's say both Lashonos. You don't say you learn from one another. It has to be written both. And that's the story. Same way with Lamvon base, Ela Epoch. Ela Epoch. I feel it'll be surah list. Meaning, Rameir agrees. You don't need Mechalata Shemayin, and our Mishnah have to change the Girsa. The Girsa of our Mishnah has to be, the Rabbanon are the one who say that's good enough, and Rameir says no. Says the Gemara, Matkabla, if you know, will be surah list. Doesn't agree with surah. So you can tell me to that someone who is kohen, who is not clean, doesn't, his hair is too overgrown, or he's drunk, he's not going to be miso. Why? It doesn't say it says it says if you don't drink wine, you won't die. If you do drink wine, a kohen, he will die. It's Mechalata Shemayin. According to me, you don't learn Mechalata Shemayin. Tepuch. So according to our Girsa, that's the Girsa of Rashi, the one maintains Tepuch. Turn it around. Rameir is the one who says that you have to say both Lashonos. If you say a Shmuel, if you do the right thing, Shmuel is going to give you good, everything will be great, and you don't say the opposite, it doesn't work. You have to say the opposite. So you could maintain Tepuch. And Rameir doesn't hold, he holds, you don't say Mechalata Shemayin by moment, but Yisur does hold. Shani Soy, the Yisur, the Yisrael Moinu, but a Soita does have moment, which means Ksuva, does have Ksuva. So Rameir does agree with Yisur Mechalata Shemayin. If so why Tepuch? So let's look at Rashi. Rashi says, Shai Sui Disu is one we know, Gavias Ksuvo, the Shua de Masnisi Nam de Momin Bo. Also, our Shua goes to the moment. He also talks about moment because he's coming to eat to be a moment. Hikaramea Paita Gedafrinon. That's Rameir's point. In other words, the Gemara in the beginning understood that Shua is Esur. So the Gemara Rameir only holds Mechalata Shemayin by moment, not by Esur. Says the Gemara. The Gemara says no, he holds Mechalata Shemayin by both. And he holds Eloilom, Tepuch, that what? Don't tell me Sur Leise V'dai Isle. If so, he holds Mechalata Shemayin. So why by us you don't say it? Because by us is moment. Why is it moment? Because Shua Seid is only called Tfias moment, as we saw 2 days ago. So Shua Seid 3 days ago. So Shua Seid this is only called moment. So that's a momentic thing. So why do I have to say Tepuch? Why do I have to change around what we said before? Maintain what we said before. And this is an Isur, and that's what our Mishnah is very good. Rameir says that we're talking about an Isur, and you don't have to say Lav and Hin. So I want to explain. So Rashi explains. So he says, if you want to tell me that you're not turning it around, so Rabbanan hold by Isur, you don't say Mechalata Shemayin. And get Shtuyang de Misa Rabbanan Minol. The Gemara just asked the question, how do you know in the Torah that a kohen who does an avodah or he drank wine, he gets Misa? The only way to learn is Mechalata Shemayin. So if you're going to tell me Loi Tepuch, I mean, Rameir is the one who says that Mechalata Shemayin is, you say Mechalata Shemayin, by us you don't say Mechalata Shemayin because by us is an Isur, it's not a moment. And Rabbanan hold even here you have a din of Mechalata, you don't say Mechalata Shemayin. So you say no, you don't hear from yet, or vice versa. So how do they know Shtu yet? So in other words, the way Rashi concludes, according to what the Gemara says right now, is that there's no way to say by Yisurim that you don't agree with Mechalata Shemayin. Can't be. Because then from where you'll come to the answer of Shtu yet. You'll never get to the answer of Shtu yet. So you have to say that everybody agrees with Yisur Mechalata Shemayin. So what about our Mishnah? Our Mishnah have to say his moment. And that's why it's a Mechlekes. That's a Rashi learns. Tais is doing differently. Tais is a big Tais here on the right. He wants to say that maybe he could turn it around and continue imitating it by Yisur, and he's going to explain Rabbanan in a different way. that because they have a different source. They have a different source to rely on. That's how they know it. So that's what they says. The question that you have for Shtu Yain, have another source. That's why I'm not so worried about it. And therefore, you could say that the reason I'm done with the holds, the Beisurim, you don't say B'chalav, but Tashrimeya Hein. With this we end the fourth paragraph. We said Shavuos Hadroch, Shavuos Seilot, Shavuos Heidus, Be'ez Hashem. I think we'll do Milchavar and come back to finish the Mishnah. Another minute.
What time it's called?
8:10. So we'll continue after Milchavar. Won't take a long time. Take a few minutes. So we continue over here. We're starting now the fifth parak of Masechet Shavuos, and we're going to be learning now the Mishnah of the first Mishnah. The first Mishnah is a very long Mishnah. It's basically the entire Amud. This is what we're going to be learning today, and the Gemara obviously is going to go through the Mishnah and going through in the parak. The parak is not very long; it's only 2 blat. But there's a long Mishnah in the Gemara later, and some of the Kudus of the Mishnah we use bar in the Gemara, some not. So the Mishnah. Shavuos apikodom noheges ba'anoshim ubenoshim. Shavuos apikodom, what Shavuos apikodom? The first it calls to tell somebody, you owe me, I deposited by you an item, give it back to me. It says, I don't have it. You do a Shavuot. So he does a Shavuot, he doesn't have it, or he does a Shavuot, that's true. That is knowing, the Mishnah is starting by saying it's knowing by everybody, and it says Rashi, not a Chiddush, of course knowing by everybody. The reason I don't think it's a Chiddush, why? It's because we spoke about Eidus. The Eidus are very specific people, it could be Eidim, so that's why you mentioned this as well. Shavuos because the Eidus by Noshim, man and woman. Relatives and not relatives. Make sure Psulim in Eidus, even if they're not possible Eidus. Bifnei Bezim, Mishol Bifnei Bezim. Doesn't matter if it's in front of Bezim or not. Mipiatz. That's all if he's doing the Shavuot on his own. But if someone else is giving the Shavuot, then he has to do it dafka b'beizim. The Gemara already mentioned that before. We learned it from Shavuos Eidus. That's how you learn. It works by both. It doesn't matter if it's beizim or not beizim. Even if someone else gave him the Shavuot, he's still chayav. Al zodoin asherbuo ve'al shegigoso im zodon apigod. Meaning, he can know about the Shavuot that's also or not. As I mentioned before, he can not know about carbon, but he needs to be amazed regarding the Pikadon, that he knew that the Pikadon was by him. Because if he thought he never had a Pikadon, that's what he really thought is onus. What do you want from him? That's what we mean. We're not chayav go with the Pikadon. What you chayav when you do the mazid? Hoshom bekesef shkolim. Is chayav when you mazid he knew about the Pikadon. He has to bring a hoshom and which you buy bekesef shkolim. Rashi says kone b'shnei sloim. Okay. Shavuos Pikadon kids. How does exactly work Shavuos Pikadon? Omer loy tenli pikdoini sheyesh li biyotcha. Says to him, give me your Pikadon. Shavuos she'en lecha biyodi. He says, I don't have your Pikadon. Or she'omer loy en lecha biyodi. Or he did not say Shavuos, he just said I don't have it. And the other guy, the depositor, said mesh biyokani. For Omer Omein, erase the chayav on that. He ishbiya alav chomish b'olim. He gave him a Shavuot 5 times. Remember, by Eidus we said it depends if the Shavuot is done in Beizin or not in Beizin. Here, Ben B'fnei Beizin, Ben Shoy B'fnei Beizin, V'kofar Chav, Kolachas V'achas, because each one you give it back, as we say right away. I'm sure Matam B'Sheyochol Lachzol Loidus. Each one you come and say, I changed my mind. Not like Eidus by Beizin. Once you say you don't have it, it's over. Continues the Mishnah. Ayu Chamisha Toivi Moisoy V'Omuloi Ten Lanu Pikodon Sheyesh Lanu B'Yotcho. 5 come to him and say, we owe a Pikadon. Each one of us has Pikadon. And he answers all of them, Shavuot she'en lechem biyodi. He says, 1 Shavuot to all 5. I have no Pikadon by me. Einu chayav alakas, because he said 1 Shavuot. Shavuot she'en lecha biyodi. V'loi lecha. Each one he gives his own Shavuot. Not to you, not to you, not to you, not one big Shavuot. Chayav kolachas v'akas, he's giving Shavuot for each one. It's not enough to say that. It's the Shavuot, lecha, Shavuot. It's to say the word shvuah in the end as well. It's not enough to say shvuah lecha u'lecha lecha. It has to say shvuah lecha v'shvuah lecha. In other words, you have to repeat the word shvuah. That's the discussion over here. Different things it can be. Pikadon is one example, but it can be tzumisyad, where you put in there what? It's like a loan. You gave it to him, and you have a gezel where you stole it, or a veido. Shesh biyodcha. See, different items. V'shvuah she'elecha biyodi. I said one shvuah I have nothing, and you have lach is one shvuah. Shvuah she'elecha biyodi pikadon tzumisyad the gezel ve'aveido. Chav kol achzachas. See, we don't have machlekes in the Mishnah that said the word shvuah again or shvuah afterwards, and we'll address it in the Gemara. I won this we mentioned before. I won my wheat, my barley, my spelt that's in your hand. I don't have anything. And it was one shvuah. Because maybe he says shvuah for each one. Then he's chayav in each one. Because he specified each one. Singular form. The Gemara is going to explain to us what is the chiddush when he says that. Anasto patitos bisi. One person who says, you had a relationship with my daughter either by force or not by force. So I did not do that. Mashbiachoni with the shvuah. V'omayomein chayav. He's chayav. If Shiva Noim Paita Sheinu Mishar Kras Al Biatzis. 1 second. Over here you have a kras. Right, we know that Ba'oinis with Fatah is a knas. Kamshir Kesef, Mia Kesef. You have a knas. So that's not being Miatzri. So yes, the knas is not Mishar Biatzri. What about the other Tashlum? We know when a person has a relationship, was mentioned before the Gemara, with a daughter, with a girl, so he has to pay also Boishes, Gam, the father. So why is he saying knas? So what was going to explain the machlekes why one is focusing on the knas, one is not. Says the Gemara, Ganafte show you. So that real other examples where you come where it leads to knas. You stole my ox. That's clear. You stole my ox. And there's no knas over here. He says I didn't. Shavuos, you have to chayav. But if he says Ganafti, I admit that I stole it. But I did not do tefillah mechira, and that's the kras. Because he was kras, everybody agrees. Here, it's the only thing he has. He agreed. He already admitted he's chayav. But he said never did tefillah mechira. So Shavuos of Bikadin does not work a kras. He means shoycho es shoyri. Your ox killed my ox. Former loimis. I didn't. Shavuos says yes. Potter. Why is it potter? Because. Sorry, I skipped this thing. I skipped the line. He means why is it chayav? It's regular money. You're shorkul measure. It means shorkul is avdi. Kill my slave. He gives the shvuah and he says yes. Potter. Why is he potter? It's a knas. Eved, you always pay the same amount, the fixed amount. Shloishi kesef, and therefore it's a knas. A knas you don't have a shvuah safikot. Omaloi tells the friend, Chavalto bi vosiso bi chabur. You harmed me, you damaged me. Formerly Chavalti v'lo chabur. Says that's not true. Mashbiachani v'omar amin. Says Shvuah and says yes. Chayov. He's chayov. Why? It's moment. You pay whatever you damaged. Omaloi avdoi. But if it was a slave that told him, what does he tell him? You hit me and you caused my tooth to fall down. See me so is Aini. You took my eye off. So then the din is what? It's a kanas that you yoyzachavshi. Why? Because it's a kanas and there's no din. We don't have shus because of a kanas. And the Mishnah concludes and says that this is the rule. Only someone who can admit, it's not a kanas, then you have shus because. If his name is Shabbat, in other words, if he's admitting his potter, so then not. And this goes into what Shavuos because all about. which teaches us about Shavuos saying this as well. That all these Shavuos is only a Tvias moment. It's only like a Beran L'Chaveru. You come and you demand something that you have. So if I have the ability to demand, then you have Shavuos. Shavuos Pikadon, Shavuos Heidus. If I don't have the ability to demand, because it's not a moment, or Knas, you can demand it's not no Chayva. So then you don't have Shavuos. It comes out from all the sukkahs over here. The Shavuos is not, the concept of the Korban Shavuos is not Klapei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a different punishment. V'inaki Hashem. But it's a Shavuos, it's Klapei Another. When you did something wrong to somebody else, you didn't give him Eidus, you took away his Pikadon, then if you have a Shavuos over there, that's what it comes. It's a whole Chaver thing. Maybe we'll get back to that Be'ez Hashem on the daf of Shabbos. And with this, we conclude daf on the Vav. Start from here, Be'ez Hashem, on Shabbos. Kol Tuv.